to Chanakya, where you get the right guidance at the right time. My name is Ananth, and I've got my fellow coach Gayatri with me today. Hi, Gayatri.
Hi, Ananth. What are we talking about today?
We've got something interesting today. I'm actually coaching, fairly large product organization, right? And they have made a decision: no more QA specialists in any of their agile teams. Right? And I'm working with with Jack, who's an engineering director, and he's got multiple teams, and he's really concerned about what's going to happen to the quality of my deliverable. So any thoughts, Gayatri, on how we can guide him?
Before that, why such a sweeping change?
Okay, good question. I think, as I understand it, what they're trying to do is to move to a model where there are flexible full stack engineers in each of the teams. That's what they're thinking. Yeah.
Okay. See, I'm not seeing this as a trend today, but I'm seeing a lot of organizations experimenting it.
Okay.
Right?
Okay. Yeah.
And agile purists, right, consider that if you have the handoffs, right, will improve. If you don't do that handoffs, it will improve productivity.
Okay. Is it developer to tester?
Developer to tester, correct. And not only that, moment you say, okay, I am responsible for the product, the innovation mindset also sparks considerably.
Okay.
That's what research seems to say. But coming back to this situation of Jack, right, I would agree that the apprehensions that Jack is feeling is valid. Quality will suffer. See, right now the testing has become a skill, and automation has become even more a deep specialization. So what today during the sprint, the developers' focus is to get into a fully demoable software, but not a fully working software. So
the demo works, it's okay.
Yeah. So one of the testers whom I coached was saying that the unhappy path are completely forgotten, are happily forgotten by the developers. So what happens is, in that scenario, you escape defects during integration testing or in production will become even more expensive.
Yeah, and right? I guess there'll be a lot of rework because you find them later.
Right.
And it's going to be costly for the organization.
Absolutely.
So it's a good point. So I guess, so what can, obviously we don't want quality to suffer.
Correct.
So given this scenario, what can Jack do to make sure the transition is smooth?
See, before even we look at the transition, right, the first is to see if the teams are ready. You have to look at it from, is the teams cross-skilled enough? See, we typically say it's a T-shaped engineers, where there you have a deeper skill, like let's say an automation or specific database areas is my specialization, and I would have development skills or testing skills in my other area. So that way I can easily match into what the sprint needs, right? And the second readiness is around the automation. So you quality part, it kind of forms as a safety net. Let's say a developer checks into a code, overnight when I run the automation, it kind of says, okay, there is a problem. So I can fix it immediately. The third is, and most important, is the readiness from a product owner or the business product management side. Right? Their help during the transition phase is very important for the success of it.
And they should have bought into it as well, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So that's a good point actually. So it's not just about jumping into transition, make sure you're kind of ready for the transition.
Correct.
So if they're ready, so what do they do? How do they move into transition?
See, transition is, as I said, right, the skills. So not everybody will have that skill. Kind of, having that kind of cross-skilling is important. And I have also seen that the QA specialists have a deeper product knowledge. The team may have been working on the product for longer, but they may have only pockets of knowledge, and not necessarily full complete one. So that may be another area that they need to work during the transition phase. I've seen it typically last about 2 to 3 sprints.
Okay.
Yeah, and of course you move into a Done-ness phase, where when rubber hits the road, right? When you actually see what is the roles and responsibilities, how will the team become fully accountable for the quality product? I think that's really the proof.
So I get this. So basically we can look at it as 3 stages, right? Phase 1 is readiness, get ready for it. Then there is do the actual transition and make sure that then it says done. We have a picture of what done means and work towards it. And as you were talking about transition, I also realized that they may have to transition the test rigs and the tools that we use for testing as well, right?
That's true.
In some companies, it's a product company, so they have the specialized rigs that are very important for them.
Yeah, that's true.
But you mentioned something about automation being the safety net.
Yeah.
Okay. But I have a question on that, because if you look at JAG, from what I understand from JAG, their testing coverage of test automation is about 30%.
Oh, okay. All right.
Okay, so what can they do something about that? What can they do? And the problem was also he's got only about 2-3, or management's giving him 2-3 sprints to transition out. It's not like he's got months to transition.
See, if that is not the case, right? When you don't have a comfort of doing it, so what they have to do is they have to do an in-process sort of an automation, where they first they create a prioritized automation backlog and keep adding a couple of automation only stories, right? As much as I don't like doing that in process, but I think some of the legacy applications don't have automation. That's the reality today. So you create that, and with a buy-in from business, that for some time you may have to, let's say 20% of your time you focus on getting those automation in place. Yeah.
Look, that makes sense actually. In fact, I've seen some organizations spend multiple sprints on just pure automation. They can get buy-in from the product management.
Correct.
So it's very good thoughts, Gayatri. But it's a strange feeling I have when I listen to a lot of this. Is the deja vu, right? I remember the days. You remember. I'm sure the days when we started. I don't remember thinking of myself as a developer or a tester or whatever. I saw myself as a engineer, if you like, and we are expected to engineer the whole thing, from requirements to analysis to design to code, test, deploy and maintain. So that's kind of very interesting for me how things have changed. But today's developers, I think they see themselves as developers, and the testing has been delegated to the testers or the specialists, right? Not my thing to do. So, and if for an operating model like this to work, I see that there is a need for a huge mindset, change in mindset in the way they see themselves. So, have you seen anything like that, and what are your thoughts on that?
You've hit the nail. Exactly, you need to think of engineers rather than am I doing any super specialization on that. I think, and most importantly, whatever I develop, I should have a pride in the quality of what I'm developing.
My code, how can I find a defect?
Exactly. And I think Jack also may have to help during this change, right? One is to help them realize to build in quality. So rather than quality as an afterthought, basically and get into all those tools and techniques to build in quality. Second is appreciate the effort, right? Because what gets appreciated what gets recognized gets done. Exactly. Right? And if, let's say, you do find defects, I think you have to have some measure of quality. So when you measure that, you can either ensure that it doesn't happen by way of creating automation scripts or by helping the team to overcome it. So I think those are ways to help them move through the change.
Those are good inputs. So that makes sense. I think so. I overall I should probably let Jack know. Not only you work on the mindset change, but also keep an eye on it by monitor some defect data and just to make sure that things are actually working. Right,
correct.
The results are on the ground. Great inputs, Gayatri. I noted a few things. Let me just quickly sort of tell me if this sounds right. As an overall approach, I can recommend to Jack. So first point is, if the change is not managed right, quality will suffer, right? And unfortunately, defects will leak into the release, right? That's one. Secondly, manage the change actively, right? You talked about those 3 phases, right? Kind of get ready, readiness, then transition, and then done-ness, right? Done-ness gives a picture of how it should look like, right? Okay. And the third is test automation is important. Make sure that's improved, and that could be a safety net, right, for the whole quality. And fourth one is get the team to think of themselves as engineers, right, rather than just developers, right. So they take pride in
what they do,
and How can someone else find a defect in what I do? And fifth one is, work towards changing the mindset towards full ownership for a quality product.
Yeah.
Not just their deliverable, the mindset should be I deliver a quality
End to
product
end.
end to end. Yeah. Is it fair summary?
Yeah, I think it sounds very good.
Okay, great. Thanks, Gayatri. I'm sure engineering directors like Jack will find these experiential insights very useful. Thanks for joining us.